Okay, so here is number 6 from your homework. I forgot to look and see what the directions specifically said, but it either says solve, find the solutions, find the x-intercepts, find the zeros, find the roots. It all means the exact same thing. So when I look at this particular problem, I notice that there is an r squared, so this is going to be a quadratic because that's the highest degree that r will ever be. And so I'm probably going to have two answers. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is set it equal to 0. The easiest way to do that is to subtract 44 from both sides. And when I do that, I'm going to go ahead and write this in standard form. So the 14r squared comes first, then it's a minus 44r, and a plus 32, and that equals 0 now. And these numbers seem a little on the large side, so let's double check and make sure that there isn't a GCF that I could pull out. And 14, 44, and 32, well, they do have a 2 in common. And when I pull that 2 out, I'm left with 7r squared minus 22r plus 16, and that equals 0. So now I can see that they have nothing else in common. That 2 on the outside just is going to hang out and reappear kind of at the end of my problem. What I want to do first, though, is I want to take this 7r squared minus 22r plus 16 and I want to factor it. So in order to do that, what I have to do is say a times c, 7 times 16 is 112. And I need factors of 112 that add up to be 22. Now, this can be a guessing game, but like we've been doing in class, if you take the square root of 112, you end up with 10.58. So my answer is somewhere between 1 and 10. Okay? So you can go through that whole list of numbers and figure out which one works. More than likely, either one of them, both of them are probably going to have to be negative in order to be a negative 22. Okay, and when I go ahead and go through all of the multiples, the ones that I've found that works is a negative 8 and a negative 14. Okay, they multiply together to be a positive 112, and they add up to be a negative 22. So I'm going to go ahead here is just go ahead and rewrite the quadratic expression here that I'm trying to factor. Doesn't matter if the 8 comes first or the 14. And when I go ahead and factor these by grouping, the 7 and the 8 have nothing in common, but they do share an r. So I get 7r minus 8. And then the 14 and 16, they share a negative 2, I believe, and that should give me a positive 7r and a negative 8. Okay, my leftovers match. They have nothing in common. Both the 7r's are positive, which they have to be, and they are both linear. So what I need to redo is I need to rewrite this whole problem. So I'm going to kind of bring my green back down here and say there's a 2 on the outside. My GCFs go together when I pulled out, and then I get one of my leftovers, minus 8, and that all equals 0. And then to finish this out, I say, well, what values of r will really make this equal 0? And the values that work are r equal to 2 and r equal to 8 divided by 7. So these should be the two answers that you get, and you can check your answers by plugging them back in.